Do you remember your very first iPod or iPhone, or the time you laid eyes on the beautiful iMac for the first time? If you do, then you know that Apple products aren't just devices, they're game changers. But have you ever wondered how Apple became the behemoth it is today? From a garage in California to a company that's worth over $2 trillion, the story of Apple is nothing short of a modern-day fairy tale. So, in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the history of Apple and discover the fascinating journey that took the company from an idea to a cultural phenomenon. Its iconic products like the Macintosh, iPod, and iPhone have not only revolutionized entire industries, but have also become cultural touchstones that have shaped our lives in countless ways. But Apple's impact on society extends far beyond its products. Its culture of innovation, attention to detail, and focus on design has inspired a new generation of thinkers and innovators to create products that push the boundaries of what is possible. Yet, despite all its successes, Apple has not been immune to controversy. The company has faced criticism over its layer practices in overseas factories, tax avoidance strategies, and its closed ecosystem that limits user choice and freedom. These challenges have sparked important conversations about the role of corporations in society and the ethical responsibilities they have towards their employees, customers, and communities. But through it all, Apple has remained steadfast in its commitment to excellence and innovation. Its products continue to shape the way we live, work, and communicate, and its influence can be felt across the tech industry and beyond. So, whether you're an Apple enthusiast or simply curious about the story behind one of the world's most iconic brands, join us on this journey to discover the incredible impact that Apple has had on society. Let me take you back in time to 1976, when two young and ambitious tech enthusiasts named Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak founded Apple Computer Inc. in a humble garage in California. They had a dream to create a company that would change the world of personal computing forever, and boy, did they succeed. At the time, personal computers were still relatively new and expensive, limiting their reach to only the most tech-savvy and wealthy individuals. But Steve Jobs and Wozniak had a different vision. They believed that computers should be accessible and easy to use for everyone, and they set out to make it a reality. Their first creation was the Apple I, a simple circuit board with no keyboard or monitor. It may sound unimpressive now, but back then, it was a game changer that caught the attention of tech hobbyists and enthusiasts alike. The demand was so high that the duo quickly began work on the Apple II, the world's first fully assembled computer with a color display, keyboard, and monitor. But building the Apple II was not an easy task. It required a lot of hard work, sleepless nights, and even some illegal activities. Wozniak had to design the computer from scratch, and Jobs had to sell it. He even convinced the owner of a local electronics store to order 50 Apple IIs by promising him a 30-day return policy. The catch: Apple didn't have the parts to build the computers yet, so Jobs took the order to a parts supplier, and with no money to pay for the parts, he convinced them to give him a 30-day credit. The gamble paid off, and the first 50 Apple IIs were delivered on time, cementing Apple's place in the personal computer industry. As the company continued to grow, Jobs and Wozniak faced challenges and setbacks, but they never lost sight of their vision. In 1980, Apple went public, generating more capital than any other IPO since Ford Motor Company in 1956. With this newfound capital, Apple was able to invest in new products and technologies, continuing to push the boundaries of what was possible in personal computing. The early years of Apple were filled with passion, hard work, and determination. It was a time when two young dreamers with no formal business training took a chance on their idea and changed the world. Their legacy continues to inspire generations of entrepreneurs to this day. Apple has always been at the forefront of innovation, constantly pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible. From the iconic Macintosh to the sleek and powerful iPhone, Apple has a long history of creating products that change the world. But what is it about Apple's approach to innovation that sets it apart? How does the company continue to stay ahead of the curve and anticipate the needs of its customers? The answer lies in Apple's unique culture of creativity, risk-taking, and a relentless pursuit of perfection. It was 1984, and the world was about to change forever. Apple had just launched the Macintosh, a groundbreaking computer that would revolutionize the way we interact with technology. But the road to the Macintosh's release was a long and arduous one, filled with obstacles and setbacks that threatened to derail the project at every turn. The story of the Macintosh began in the late 1970s when Apple co-founder Steve Jobs was convinced that computers could be made more accessible and user-friendly. He envisioned a computer that was so simple and intuitive that anyone could use it, even if they had no prior experience with technology. He assembled a team of engineers and designers, and together they set out to create the Macintosh. But the road was not an easy one. The team faced technical challenges, creative differences, and a corporate culture that was resistant to change. Jobs, known for his perfectionism and demanding nature, was often at odds with his team, pushing them to their limits and beyond. Despite the challenges, the team persevered, driven by a shared vision of what the Macintosh could be. They poured their hearts and souls into the project, working long hours and sacrificing their personal lives for the sake of the computer. They knew that they were creating something special, something that would change the world. Finally, in 1984, the Macintosh was unveiled to the world in a now famous Super Bowl commercial. The ad, directed by Ridley Scott, depicted a dystopian future in which conformity and uniformity ruled until a young woman wielding a sledgehammer shattered the screen and brought freedom and individuality to the world. It was a powerful statement, and it captured the spirit of the Macintosh perfectly. The Macintosh was a hit, selling over 70,000 units in its first 100 days on the market. Its sleek design, easy-to-use interface, and innovative software made it a favorite among users and critics alike. But there is a little-known story about the Macintosh that adds an extra layer of intrigue to its already fascinating history. In the early days of the Macintosh project, Jobs had a secret team working on a parallel project code named Annie. Annie was a skunkworks project, kept secret even from the Macintosh team. Jobs had tasked the Annie team with creating a backup plan in case the Macintosh project failed. The Annie team worked in secret, developing a computer that was even more advanced than the Macintosh, with a graphical user interface and advanced software features. In the end, the Macintosh was a success, and the Annie project was scrapped. But the story of Annie adds an extra layer of intrigue to the already fascinating history of the Macintosh. In 2001, Apple released a small white device that would revolutionize the way we listen to music, the iPod. But the story behind its development is far more intriguing than just its impact on the music industry. It is a tale of perseverance, innovation, and secrecy. The story begins in the late 1990s, when Apple was struggling to stay relevant in the rapidly changing tech industry. The company had recently brought back co-founder Steve Jobs, who was determined to turn things around. Jobs was convinced that digital music was the future, and he set his sights on creating a device that could store and play an entire music library in the palm of your hand. The development of the iPod was a long and difficult process. Apple's engineers faced numerous technical challenges, such as finding a hard drive small enough to fit inside a portable device and creating a user interface that was simple and intuitive. But perhaps the biggest challenge was convincing the music industry to support the device. At the time, the music industry was in the midst of a crisis, as illegal file sharing on peer-to-peer networks was rampant. The idea of a device that could store thousands of songs was seen as a threat to the industry's profits. But Apple persevered, and in October 2001, the first iPod was released to the public. It was an instant hit, selling over 100,000 units in its first month on the market. The sleek design, simple interface, and easy-to-use software made it a favorite among music lovers. In the early days of the project, Jobs was so obsessed with secrecy that he refused to tell even his closest colleagues what he was working on. He would simply say that he was creating something really cool and leave it at that. One day, a group of Apple engineers were working on a prototype of the iPod when Steve walked in unannounced. They panicked, thinking that Steve would be angry that they were working on something he didn't know about. But instead, Steve was fascinated by what he saw. He immediately recognized the potential of the device and threw his full support behind it. Apple, the technology giant that it is today, had its fair share of ups and downs throughout its history. One of its darkest moments was the decline of Apple in the 90s, where the company struggled to keep its head above water. It was a time when Apple was losing market share, had declining revenues, and was on the brink of bankruptcy. This is the story of how Apple managed to survive its toughest period and come out stronger on the other side. The decline of Apple in the 90s can be traced back to the company's inability to adapt to the changing market. The rise of IBM-compatible PCs and the popularity of Microsoft's Windows operating system meant that Apple's Macintosh computers were no longer the only players in the game. The company failed to innovate and bring new products to the market, leading to a decline in market share. As the company struggled to maintain its position in the market, the situation worsened when co-founder Steve Jobs was ousted from the company in 1985. This left the company in the hands of John Sculley, who was unable to turn things around. The company's focus shifted from innovation to cost-cutting, leading to a decline in product quality and customer satisfaction. Apple's decline was further compounded by the fact that it was losing key members of its engineering and design teams to competitors. This resulted in a lack of innovation and a failure to keep up with the rapidly changing technology landscape. Despite these challenges, Apple managed to survive its darkest period. It began with the return of Steve Jobs to the company in 1997. Jobs brought with him a vision for the future of technology and a passion for innovation that had been missing from the company for too long. He refocused the company on developing innovative products that would capture the imagination of consumers once again. One of the first products to come out of Apple under Jobs' leadership was the iMac, which was launched in 1998. It was a sleek, all-in-one computer that came in a range of bright colors and was targeted at consumers rather than businesses. It was an instant success and marked the beginning of a new era for Apple. The success of the iMac was followed by a string of groundbreaking products, including the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. Apple became known for its ability to create products that were not only innovative but also beautifully designed and easy to use. The company's focus on the user experience was a key factor in its success. In conclusion, the decline of Apple in the 90s was a dark period in the company's history, but it was also a turning point. It was a time when the company had to face its shortcomings and make tough decisions. It was a time when it had to rediscover its passion for innovation and refocus on creating products that would capture the hearts and minds of consumers. And in the end, it was a time when Apple proved that it had what it takes to not only survive, but to thrive in an ever-changing technology landscape. It was a mistake that would go down in history, an error in judgment that would lead to one of the biggest scandals in the world of technology. In 2010, an Apple engineer lost a prototype of the iPhone 4 in a bar, and what followed was a story of suspense, intrigue, and controversy. The engineer, whose name has never been revealed, was said to have left the phone in a bar in Redwood City, California, after a night out with friends. It was a simple mistake, one that could have happened to anyone. But this was no ordinary phone. It was a top-secret prototype of the highly anticipated iPhone 4, and it was about to fall into the wrong hands. The phone was eventually found by a man named Brian Hogan, who was sitting at the bar where the engineer had left it. Hogan recognized the device as an Apple prototype and took it home with him, along with a friend who helped him crack open the device and take a look inside. They were amazed by what they found: a sleek new design, a front-facing camera, and a host of new features that had yet to be announced by Apple. Hogan eventually contacted a technology blog called Gizmodo, offering to sell them the phone for a whopping $5,000. Gizmodo agreed, and the story went viral, with people around the world eager to get a glimpse of the elusive iPhone 4. But the story was far from over. Apple was not pleased with the leak, and the company launched a full-scale investigation to track down the people responsible. Hogan was eventually identified and charged with theft, while Gizmodo's editor was also arrested and charged with purchasing stolen property. The legal battle that followed was intense, with Apple demanding that the phone be returned to them and that all information related to the device be deleted from Gizmodo's website. Gizmodo refused, arguing that they were protected by the First Amendment and that they had a right to publish the information they had obtained. In the end, Apple was victorious, and the phone was returned to the company. But the story of the lost iPhone prototype will go down in history as one of the biggest scandals in the world of technology. It was a case that tested the limits of privacy, security, and the power of the government. In 2016, the FBI found themselves at odds with Apple over the case of the San Bernardino shooter's iPhone, a dispute that would lead to one of the most controversial legal battles in the world of technology. The San Bernardino shooting had shocked the nation, with 14 people killed and 22 others injured by the gunman. The shooter, Syed Rizwan Farouk, had used an iPhone 5C that was later recovered by law enforcement. The problem was that the phone was locked, and the FBI needed to access its contents to gather evidence and track down any potential accomplices. The FBI turned to Apple for help, asking the company to create a backdoor that would allow them to unlock the phone. Apple refused, arguing that creating such a backdoor would compromise the security and privacy of all iPhone users around the world. It was a stance that Apple CEO Tim Cook was willing to fight for, even if it meant going up against the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world. The legal battle that followed was intense, with both sides arguing their case in court and in the media. The FBI argued that Apple was obstructing justice and that they needed access to the phone to prevent future attacks. Apple countered that creating a backdoor was not only dangerous, but also unconstitutional, a violation of the company's right to free speech and the privacy of its customers. As the case dragged on, the tension between the two sides reached new heights. Supporters of Apple rallied around the company, arguing that the government was overreaching and that privacy and security were essential in a world where technology was increasingly intertwined with our daily lives. Meanwhile, the FBI continued to push for access to the phone, arguing that the safety of the public was at stake. In the end, the case was never fully resolved. The FBI eventually found a third-party company that was able to unlock the phone without Apple's help, and the legal battle fizzled out. But the dispute had far-reaching implications, setting a precedent for how companies and the government approach the issue of privacy and security in the digital age. The case of the San Bernardino shooter's iPhone may have been resolved, but the controversy it sparked continues to shape the conversation around technology, privacy, and the power of the government. It was a case that tested the limits of what we are willing to give up in the name of security. Apple is undoubtedly one of the most recognizable and influential tech companies in the world. Its iconic logo, a simple yet powerful image of an apple with a bite taken out of it, is arguably the most recognizable logo in the world. This level of brand recognition is a testament to Apple's strong market position and its ability to stay relevant in the minds of consumers. One of the key factors that sets Apple apart from its competitors is its ability to create products that resonate with consumers on a deep level. Apple has cultivated a brand identity that is synonymous with innovation, simplicity, and elegance. The company's products are known for their sleek designs, intuitive user interfaces, and powerful capabilities. This commitment to quality and design has earned Apple a loyal following of consumers who are willing to pay a premium for its products. Apple's market position is further strengthened by its ability to create products that seamlessly integrate with each other, creating an ecosystem that is hard for competitors to replicate. In addition to its strong position in the smartphone market, Apple has also made significant strides in other areas. Its personal computer business has seen steady growth in recent years, with the company's MacBook laptops and iMac desktops gaining popularity among consumers and professionals alike. Apple has also emerged as a major player in the wearables market, with its Apple Watch and AirPods quickly becoming some of the most popular products in their respective categories. The company's focus on health and fitness tracking has resonated with consumers, further solidifying its position as a leader in the tech industry. Overall, Apple is currently one of the most valuable and influential companies in the world, with a market capitalization of over $2 trillion. Its market position is characterized by its strong brand identity, commitment to innovation, and ability to create products that resonate with consumers. Despite the controversies and dark secrets surrounding Apple's past, the company has managed to maintain a loyal customer base that continues to grow year after year. So what is it about Apple that keeps customers coming back, despite some of the company's questionable practices? Let's take a closer look at how Apple manages to cultivate and maintain such a strong following among consumers. Apple is one of the world's most successful companies, and a significant factor behind that success is the company's ability to maintain a loyal customer base. It has built an impressive following of people who are fiercely devoted to the brand and the products it produces. The question is, how does Apple manage to achieve this level of customer loyalty? One of the ways Apple maintains its loyal customer base is by creating a seamless user experience. Apple's products are designed to work well together, allowing users to seamlessly transition between devices. This creates a sense of consistency and reliability that customers appreciate. For example, when a user listens to music on their iPhone, they can easily transition to listening to music on their Apple Watch or HomePod. This consistent experience is essential to Apple's customer base and keeps them coming back for more. Another way that Apple maintains its loyal customer base is by creating products that are innovative and user-friendly. Apple is known for its intuitive design and simple user interfaces, which make its products easy to use and appealing to a wide range of users. Apple's products are designed with the user in mind, and the company is continually refining and improving its offerings to meet the changing needs of its customers. Apple also fosters a sense of community among its customers. The company creates a sense of exclusivity around its products, which appeals to customers who want to be a part of something special. Apple's marketing campaigns and product launches create a buzz that draws customers in, and the company's retail stores offer a unique shopping experience that customers enjoy. This sense of community is important to Apple's customer base, and the company works hard to maintain it. Finally, Apple has built a reputation for excellent customer service. Apple's customer service is known for being helpful, friendly, and responsive. When customers have problems with their Apple products, they can reach out to Apple's support team, who will work tirelessly to resolve their issues. This level of customer service creates a positive experience for customers and reinforces their loyalty to the brand. In conclusion, Apple's success in maintaining a loyal customer base can be attributed to its ability to create a seamless user experience, design innovative and user-friendly products, foster a sense of community among its customers, and provide excellent customer service. Apple's customers are some of the most loyal in the world, and the company has worked hard to build that loyalty over the years. As long as Apple continues to focus on these core principles, it is likely that it will maintain its loyal customer base for years to come. Throughout its storied history, Apple has revolutionized the tech industry time and time again. From the Macintosh to the iPhone, Apple has consistently pushed boundaries and set new standards for what technology can do. But what does the future hold for this iconic company? Looking ahead, it's clear that Apple has no intention of slowing down. The company's recent forays into wearable technology, such as the Apple Vision Pro, demonstrate a continued commitment to innovation and a willingness to explore new frontiers. And with rumors swirling about upcoming products like the Apple Car, it's clear that Apple is still looking to shake up the industry. Despite its ups and downs over the years, Apple remains a dominant force in the tech world. Its iconic logo is instantly recognizable across the globe, and its products are coveted by consumers and professionals alike. And with the company's continued emphasis on design and user experience, it seems likely that Apple will maintain its position at the forefront of the industry for years to come. Looking back over Apple's history, it's clear that the company has had a profound impact on the world of technology. From the introduction of the Macintosh in the 1980s to the launch of the iPhone in the 2000s, Apple has consistently pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible in the tech industry. Its products have become iconic symbols of innovation and quality, and its design philosophy has inspired countless imitators and admirers. But perhaps even more than its products, Apple's legacy lies in the way it has shaped the industry as a whole. Through its relentless focus on design and user experience, Apple has raised the bar for what consumers expect from technology. Its emphasis on simplicity and elegance has helped to democratize technology, making it more accessible and intuitive for users of all skill levels. In the end, it's clear that Apple's story is far from over. With each passing year, the company continues to innovate and push the boundaries of what is possible in the tech industry. Whether it's through new products, new design philosophies, or new ways of thinking about technology, Apple remains a powerful force for change in the world. So what can we expect from Apple in the years to come? It's hard to say for certain, but one thing is clear: whatever Apple does next, it's sure to be bold, innovative, and unforgettable.